Despite pleas from Australia and other nations, Donald Trump says he will dump a Pacific trade deal on his first day as president. It's a setback for the Turnbull government, but it has had a domestic win, with one part of its package of industrial laws clearing the Senate. Political editor Chris Uhlmann.
Finally, a time to celebrate.
A great success.
With most of the fractious Senate crossbench backing the government's bid to subject unions to the same rules as corporations.
This was a great example of the Parliament working.
All but one Senate crossbencher supported the legislation with amendments.
The most sweeping reforms to whistleblower protection laws this country has ever seen.
And the promise that the government will look at extending the laws to corporations and the public service.
If they renege on this, we'll come after them.
Labor and the Greens fought the bill into the early hours of the morning.
The government's got a key plank of what is anti-union and anti-Australian worker legislation through the Senate.
It's a much-needed win for the Prime Minister, who returned from Peru this morning, where a meeting of Pacific Rim leaders urged the United States President-elect not to abandon the 12-nation trade deal called the Trans-Pacific Partnership.
This issue was the abiding topic of conversation at Lima over the weekend.
The trade pact was 7 years in the making. Donald Trump killed it in 9 seconds on YouTube.
I am going to issue our notification of intent to withdraw from the Trans-Pacific Partnership, a potential disaster for our country.
Malcolm Turnbull says the other 11 nations can go ahead without the United States.
It is manifestly in our interest.
But the treaty's terms actually demand America's consent.
We need the United States to ratify in order for the agreement to come into effect.
And the Japanese Prime Minister says that without the United States, the trade deal is meaningless. This deal was the economic flank of the US pivot to Asia. The way is now clear for China to take the lead on trade. And it wasn't even the biggest announcement Donald Trump made today, because he's also poured petrol on a coal fire.
On energy, I will cancel job-killing restrictions on the production of American energy, including shale energy and clean coal, creating many millions of high-paying jobs.
Maybe he means what he says. Chris Uhlmann, ABC News, Canberra.